Good day, everyone. We are delighted to be here and thank you for having us today. My name is Amara Abrina, and with me are my co-authors, Diana Openia Mejorada and Jean-Marie Margaret Ortega. And our research paper would not be possible without our research mentor, Miss Maria Teresa de la Rosa, and Dr. Melba L. Manapol, our research advisor. Our paper, or our research paper that we are going to be presenting today, is entitled Experiences of Male Individuals Committing Domestic Violence Against Women and Children in Davao City, a qualitative research study. So, for the background of our study, eradicating domestic violence against women and children has been a long battle, even until now. Every 8th of March, we celebrate International Women's Day. And this is to celebrate and to remind everyone about the importance of gender equality and development. It would take a long time for me to explain and to give emphasis on how we journeyed or how our women in the past have fought for our rights today, and we are very grateful for them. And this celebration is also to celebrate programs, laws, and services for women, and of course including their children. However, given the success we have achieved with the said sectors, little to nothing has been done to comprehend and to understand the perpetrators of violence, or as we call them, the doers of violence. And so, our study focuses on the experiences of the doers of violence.
For our theoretical framework, we utilizes the lens of the ecological systems theory that was developed by Yuri Bronfenbrenner, a Russian developmental psychologist. We use this lens to see and identify the factors that affect the individual during their early age. This will also help us explain why the doers of violence commit such acts. This will also give light to the factors we need to take note to avoid the acquisition of such acts again. The ecological systems theory has 5 systems, namely the micro, meso, exo, macro, and chrono. And on the later years, Yuri added a new system, which is the gene system. For the statement of the problem, the study sought to answer the following questions. First is, what are the experiences of these male individuals who committed domestic violence against women and children during their childhood years in terms of where it was experienced? First is within the family setting, and second is within the community setting. Second is, what are these male individuals' experiences of commission prior, upon, and after? Lastly, what are their experiences of prosecution, interventions, and services intended for the doers of violence? This study is significant to the general public, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, the Integrated Gender Development Division, the Talikala Incorporated, the academe, the social work practitioners, the policymakers, and the social work students. Because aside from giving them deeper understanding about the doers of violence, this could also help them be educated about the doers of violence. It could help us have a holistic approach in dealing with domestic violence against women and children.
Now, for the scope of this study, male individuals who were reported to authorities for committing violence towards their partners. This also includes respondents who are in cohabitation, intimate relationship, and in marriage with their partners. However, this does not comprise any respondents from a homogeneous relationship, man-to-man and women-to-women bond. For our research methodology, instrument that was used was an in-depth interview. So we took time to understand and to listen to our respondents. The sampling procedure was a purposive sampling technique of 8 male individuals. The research approach, the study employed the descriptive research design. Particularly, a qualitative research approach was operated in gathering data to formulate a descriptive thesis.
Hello everybody, I am Diana Panya-Mejorada, a registered social worker. And before I present to you the findings of our study, let me first emphasize the data gathering process that we have undertaken in order to identify our 8 male respondents. So in gathering the specific data needed for our research, a collaboration through a formal communication with the IGDD, or the Integrated Gender and Development Division of the City Government of Davao, and the Talikala Incorporated was initiated, and through it we were able to determine 8 male respondents to do the interview. So before the actual gathering of the data, we provided a consent in which it manifested that our respondents permitted us, the researchers, to conduct an in-depth interview. We also assured them that all the information disclosed, as well as their identity, will be kept confidential. And during the process of the data gathering, we conducted a comprehensive, semi-regulated, face-to-face interview through a guide of our in-depth interview guide to our respondents. So each of the interviews lasted at least 30 minutes to 1 hour. For the findings of our research, let me first present you the summary of the socio-demographic profile of our respondents. Our respondents' age ranges from 21 to 67 years old. Among the respondents, half of them are married and the rest are in cohabitation with their partners, as seen in the blue graph chart. Moreover, 5 out of our respondents are employed, while the rest of them are unemployed or retiree, as shown in the green chart. And for the educational attainment, 1 of our respondents is a college graduate, 3 of them are college undergraduate, 1 is a high school graduate, another 2 of our respondents are elementary graduate, and the last one finished a vocational course. For the actual research findings, our study revealed the following, which are then divided into 3 main categories, namely the influencers from the early childhood and risk factors, the experiences of the perpetration, and third, the experiences of the interventions received. For number 1, the influencers from the early childhood, our study revealed and showed that the experiences of this individual, specifically during their childhood within the family setting and in the environment, have influenced their behavior and have been a factor to their propensity to violence. So within the family, this individual experienced harsh parental discipline, which involved the act of physical punishments, the harsh verbal discipline, and even neglection. Also, they have been exposed to abusive head of the family, wherein they witness their own parents within an abusive cycle. In the school environment, they have experienced corporal punishments and assaults from their teachers. So according to the intergenerational transmission of violence, those people who have experienced or even witnessed violence within their family and in their environment as they are growing up have greater possibility to also live in a violent domestic situation. So for the second one, experiences of the perpetration, in the lens of the doer of violence, these are their experiences all throughout the commission of violence, the prior, the commission, upon the commission, and after the commission of the violence. Prior to commission, they have been triggered by their partner, heated conversation, act of disobedience, and throwing of insults are just the common common events that occurred preceding the perpetration, which eventually end up with the act of violence. Upon the commission, the doer of violence, according to them, lose their self-control and are now drowned in wrath and in anger as they commit the violent act. After the commission of the violent act, this doer of violence felt deep remorse and guilt, and then they try to rationalize the violent act. Also noted in the study are the partaking changes that is happening within the family relationship of the doers of violence. Number one, particularly, their partners became indifferent and that their children have grown distant to them. Lastly, for the experiences of the interventions, there are three subsections that we'll look into: the effectivity, the fairness and equality, and the satisfaction. In terms of the effectivity, those services on awareness of the VAUC and the inclusive interventions where men are heard and being catered have helped the doers of violence reform and change. On the other hand, others stated that the services were not effective. In terms of fairness and equality, men have misconception that all the centers and all the interventions are just all for women and that they are biased towards women. For the satisfaction, the doer of violence expressed that they are somehow satisfied but still recommended on catering men on the intervention. The respondents' recommendations revolve around, number one, the creation of centers that are inclusive to men and that uses holistic approach in its intervention, and second, emphasize the vitality of educating the doer of violence on the issues of violence against women and children.
For our research implications, first, for the women-based centers, it is about time that we have a holistic approach in dealing with domestic violence. When we say holistic here, it means that we have to include the male, to empower male, to understand male, so that when we acknowledge what they are experiencing, then hence they would feel, accepted, and they would help in the development of equality. For the existing centers, agencies, and organizations that caters and promotes the protection of women and children, it is highly time for a shift of paradigm, not to only focus to the said sectors, but also to include the promotion of helpful intervention and programs for the men, particularly for the doer of violence. This will enable holistic approach to address domestic violence. Our research would like to stress that these programs for women and children, of course, we have to continue and to strive for empowerment, for women empowerment. However, we should not forget that to attain the equality or the development of our society, we have to include male, or we have to include both male and female, because as we all know, male and female, we are all human beings. We feel pain, we feel anger, we feel frustrated equally. I mean, what I say equally, I mean we have feelings that we feel. So we have to understand that it's not just women but also men. So when we, empower men, they would help us empower women as well. Next, of course, would be for the future study regarding the services provided for the people who committed domestic violence should be conducted. So we have to, further give emphasis or give importance to understand the doer of violence and to, come up with services that would best fit for our society today. Formulation of effective treatment for domestic violence, such as group therapy, where the doer of violence learn to confront the issues and hold themselves accountable. Our study was not, of course, to give empowerment just for male. We want to emphasize that when we empower male, we are empowering actually the women of our society. So when we have effective treatment for this for our fellow doers, then they would understand themselves better and they would be accountable for their actions, and hence they would empower women. And next, strengthen barangay programs to address both women and the doer of violence should be implemented. There is the need to alter the approach into a more inclusive means of dealing the issue of domestic violence. Will create a positive outcome for a holistic development of the society. Also, strengthening and giving more emphasis about domestic violence and its implications during marriage counseling. So we have to, from before they enter marriage, we have to give, we have to start discussing the possibilities for such. And domestic violence preventive education program must further be given to emphasize as a lack of knowledge and ignorance of domestic violence appears to be prevalent. So we also cannot deny that not all are aware of this, not all are open to empowering both male and female, and it is very important for us to be educated about this. Thank you so much for listening to our research study. We are actually excited to see more studies about the doer of violence, and we are excited to see a more holistic approach, not only here in Davao City, but for the entire Philippines and the entire world. And we are very happy again to be here, and I hope that this research of ours would give an insight or would open our minds that to empower women and children, we have to empower our male. We have to let them understand the history and the present status quo. And with such, we would make them feel important, that we need them to empower our women and children sector. Because we live in the same world, we live in the same society, and it is important that we help each other achieve our mission and achieve our goals to have gender equality development.
In conducting this study, we have realized that as we are addressing the issues of the doers of violence, we are also addressing the issues of gender-based violence and domestic violence as a whole. Thank you.